10 foods you should stop eating if you want to finally lose belly fat. Over the last decade, I've undergone multiple transformations, but thinking back to my first one in 2017, there were foods that I cut out completely that finally allowed me to go from that 30% body fat range to about 15%. I got to my goal, however, I wanted to take it further and to get into single digit. And these foods behind me were these secretly hidden calories and foods that I was eating that was stopping me from getting into single digit. Now, once I was able to remove all of these foods, in the following years, after I completed my bulking phase where my main objective was to build muscle, it was seamless and without any plateaus, I got to single digit body fat. In this video, I'm going to share with you all 10 of these. Not only have I seen these results, but all of my clients when I made these adjustments. My clients Shannon, Sandra, Hallie, Alberto, Avlons, Tori, JL, and the list is endless. And when I have a new client come on board, I make sure that all these foods aren't in there because I want them to have the same result of me, if not even better. So if you want to achieve the same thing, to be able to lose all of your belly fat, watch the video to the very end. Let's not waste any time. Let's dive straight in. I just want to show you guys something right before we dive in. This here is a representation of what 5 pounds of fat looks like. And we have 5 pounds of muscle. Just look how compact this muscle is. What I want to know, if you're able to change these 10 things behind you, you'll be able to lose these 5 pounds of fat within a month just making these adjustments. Now, I'm sure you've watched 1,000 YouTube's video by now that's confused you about what diet to follow and what to do because they want you to buy their thing, which I totally understand. At fundament, to be able to lose fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit. It is that simple. You need to move more and eat less. It is that simple. Or you just need to make sure that you're eating less calories than you expend, and it's that simple. It's all about energy in versus energy out. With that being said, the 3 main macronutrients is protein. Protein is going to serve for the building blocks to build muscle. We want more protein. And we also have carbohydrates, which plays its role in being able to give your body enough fuel. However, the problem here is overeating carbohydrates, which will cause storing of fat over a longer period of time. And then finally, the same with fat. Fat's main function is to maintain hormonal balance. So our testosterone is optimized so we can build muscle. However, another problem is fat is also very prevalent in all of our favorite foods, and overeating that fat is where the problem comes. And again, it's overeating the amount that you actually need. But let me show you exactly what I mean of how much exactly you're supposed to be eating. So as a point of reference, generally at the very minimum, I give myself 20% of my total calories that I'm eating on a diet. And you're seeing my competition photos right here. The minimum I ever personally went was 50 grams of fat. And all the clients that I've ever worked with will range between 50 grams and 60 grams, maybe as high as 70. But I'm going to use 50 grams here so you have an idea of what 50 grams looks like. That's exactly what I'm supposed to be eating. And you're going to see how much these foods actually contain in terms of your fat content. So this is what 50 grams look like, and we're going to refer to this later in the video. That's 28 grams of fat. That is 47 grams, and we're almost there. And that is 51 grams. And I'm going to take it here. This is exactly the amount of fat that we're supposed to be eating. 50 grams of fat. Again, it may be 55 or 60 grams for you, just calculating what your 20% of your total calories are. But in reference, this is what you're supposed to be eating in the entire day in terms of your caloric intake. I'm going to compare against all these foods how much fat there really is in there. And you're finally going to understand, wow, this is exactly why I'm hitting a plateau despite all my efforts and killing myself in the gym and eating all of these salads. Let's jump straight into food number 1 and not waste any more time. Again, before I jump into food number 1, I highly recommend you watch till the end because it could be that one food that you're eating that is stopping you. I'm going to start with breakfast foods that you're commonly eating. The second is the common lunch foods, and then all these small little mistakes that are probably trickling into your entire day that is stopping you. Number 1 is our favorite place, and why I've put this number 1 on the list is I see Starbucks extremely prevalent. Now here we have a Frappuccino, and again I want to point, this is one out of the tens or maybe the hundreds of coffee options that you have, but these are the most popular. So it's very likely the option you're choosing at Starbucks has this bad of calories unless you're just going for the plain Americano with just black coffee and nothing else in it. But what I'm about to show you is astounding. I highly recommend you go onto MyFitnessPal and you see how many calories and what's exactly in the coffees that you're choosing at Starbucks so you're making a correct decision. So here we have the famous Frappuccino, right? And I'm going to tell you exactly how many grams of fat is in a Frappuccino. A Frappuccino is 510 calories. There's 85 grams of carbs in a Frappuccino, in this little cup, there's 85 grams of carbs. Of those 85 grams of carbs, 84 of those is sugar. And then finally, we have 17 grams of fat. Let me show you what that looks like. So I'm gonna measure you here. 17 grams of fat, it's 11, 17 grams of fat. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if I'm willing to give 34% of the total fats I'm supposed to be eating to just one drink that's gonna make me feel decent for a good 2 to 3 minutes. And to me, this isn't even the worst part about the Frappuccino. Let me show you guys what 84 grams of sugar has to look like. So number one, right? I'm gonna take this cup here, and according to the American Heart Association, the recommendation is that you should only have 24 grams of added sugar per day. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So this is the recommendation that were given by the American Heart Association. So no more than 100 calories, right? So if you guys ever wondered, hey, how much added sugar can I have a day? The recommendation, again, it's a recommendation, is 24 grams. And there I'm at 30. So easy to shoot over just even pouring it in, right? That's still too much. And this is also another point. Imagine I just over pour so easily just trying to measure it. How much is that happening in your day-to-day life with the foods that you're eating? That's still 26, it's still too much. So I need to pour some of this back. Got it, I'm gonna leave it there. That's 24 grams. So this is the exact recommendation according to the American Heart Association of how much sugar you should take. But let's say, you know what, Dr. Mike, 24 grams of sugar is like not that much. Well, this is what double looks like, right? So we're gonna go 48. That's double, and still all the sugar in here isn't even half or just about half of the sugar in the Frappuccino. So let's get to that 84 mark so you guys can see exactly how much sugar is in here, right? So that's 78 grams, that's 80, and we're about to hit the 84, voila. In this Frappuccino, you have your 17 grams of fat, and then on top of that, you have all of this sugar that's just in this drink that you're going to enjoy for 5 to 10 minutes. And the honest truth is that it also doesn't have any nutritional value. So when you go to Starbucks, there are many different options that are better. Just make sure that you're just not consuming so much sugars for your breakfast. It doesn't set up your day really well as well, because you're gonna get this massive insulin spike and a consequent energy crash at the end of the day. So be very mindful of what you're getting at Starbucks. But let me show you another common breakfast food, and then number two, that I see people eat all the time, and it's something that I have completely removed on my day-to-day eating. The second one, I can't remember the last time I've included it. Now, why this is important is, yes, in health and fitness, we've perpetuated if it fits your macros and if it fits your diet that you can have it, which I agree with. But the problem is that it's not taking into account human psychology, and just the marketing isn't honest. So let me show you guys something. There's a common breakfast cereal, right, that we all love. I've never met someone who doesn't like Fruit Loops. And did you know the actual serving size that people recommend, according to this package, the company Kellogg's believes is the normal serving you should have, it's gonna be 30 grams. So let me show you what 30 grams of Fruit Loops look like, right? So open this bad boy here. Alrighty, Kellogg's, let's see what 30 grams looks like. Let's be honest, let's see. So that's like 20 grams, and then that's like 30. So this is what they consider a serving of Kellogg's. No one is eating that. And even if you are, you just don't feel full, which is another thing, right? You'll see the macros on it, but you're not seeing the serving size. So you're like, this fits my diet, let me eat it. But that's not the truth. We're probably gonna have, let's say, about 3 servings, right? So if one serving's 30 grams, we're about to have 90 grams of this thing. So let me show you what 90 grams looks like, right? Now, this looks a little bit more realistic to me, right? And again, this is a small bowl, like if you just compare it against my head size. Now I'm gonna put this to the side. Now you may be asking, okay, like what is in this? I'm not even going to mention all the ingredients that aren't good for you, but simply, if you have a long list of ingredients on a particular food, it just tells you it's very processed, and you should question if it's really good for you. Something I also want to put out, you should remember with all these companies, Kellogg's, candy companies, their main objective is for you to come back. There are people who spend their entire year, their career designing the perfect crunch, designing the perfect flavors according to your palate, so you can continuously buy this particular product. But the main question is that good for you? Most of the times, 99% of the times, it is not. But don't take my word for it. Let's just look at what the facts are of what is in this bowl simply. And the first question is, okay, so tell me how much sugar and added sugar there is in this thing. So I'm gonna go here to my Fitness Pal and I'm gonna scan this. We'll scan it. So these are the macros in 90 grams, right? So in 3 servings. In 3 servings, right? In this entire bowl, we have 79 grams of carbs, 3.6 grams of fat, and 4.8 protein. So basically just carbs in a bowl, right? But let's figure out how much sugar is in here. There's 33 grams of sugar, which again overshoots that, right? And just to show you what that 33 grams looks like, I'm gonna go here. So in this is 33 grams of sugar. That's the actual sugar that's in this. But if I wanted to show you the carbs represented in this bowl, right, we have exactly 79.2. So just to show you what that carb representation is in just of sugar, 79.2. So that's just the sugar, just all the carbs in its own, 79.2. So that is all the sugar that is in this bowl. Now my advice here is the same for the Frappuccino, just go for an Americano. And the same goes with cereal, right? Instead of consuming all of the sugar with a cereal, I recommend simply choose oats, right? And that's a breakfast that you can go for, and add a protein powder that will just give you so much more benefit without all that added sugar. Oats is also shown to be very, very satiating. And that's just one example, but this is the problem that's occurring with whatever cereals you're eating in the morning. And this is also common when I have my clients go over for holiday, there's always this array of different cereals that they're having for breakfast. And the honest truth is, if you have kids, you're probably feeding them this. So you should ask yourself, are you teaching them the right habits that you want them to perpetuate when they're older? Are they maybe going to have the same issue you are because you're watching this video, because of the decisions they're making for them? So if you have kids, this plays a big role for you. This is just the breakfast cereals. Let's move on into food number 3. What is the most popular food in the world? Take a second to think about it. It's burgers, and specifically from McDonald's. But I wanted to show you guys 2 burgers, very, very popular. Here we have the Big Mac, notoriously the most famous burger ever, right? And I'm just gonna have this here. And here, if you guys know, comment down below if you guys know where this is probably from. And if you do, then it says that you have this. But this is the famous Five Guys. Now, just even opening it is so weird. And I'll tell you guys something. I ended my competition prep and I was like, you know what? I want to have something that I just haven't had in a while. And I couldn't bring myself to buy this. I couldn't. Like, just even the way it looks right now, it does not look appetizing to me. But there's a point I want to make, right? So here we have 2 very famous burgers. Five Guys needs to fix their presentation. But here we have 2 very famous burgers, right? Now, let me give you guys how many calories are in this burger. So let's start with the Big Mac. This Big Mac, right, that you see here contains 590 calories, right, in this entire Big Mac. That is 46 grams of carbs, 34 grams of fat, and 25 grams of protein in this Big Mac. In Five Guys, you have double the amount of calories, 980 calories, 40 grams of carbs, right? So relatively the same, it's just 2 buns, 55 grams of fat, and 47 grams of protein. So there's a little bit more protein in here. But let me show you guys what 34 grams of fat and 55 grams of fat looks like. So if I just have a Big Mac, I'm gonna have 34 grams of fat. So let me show you what that looks like. That's 23, 28, 34 grams of fat, right? So if I just have this Big Mac on its own, right? You're in a hurry, you wanna get something for lunch and you wanna be able to eat something because you're hungry, you're gonna eat 34 grams of fat. This is the total allotted amount. So what happens is, just when you have the Big Mac, you've eaten 34 grams of fat. And statistically, just this burger is going to overtake 70%. This is 70% of the total fats you're supposed to be eating. And with that being said, if you just have the burger alone, the chances that you overeat the 50 grams is just so high, because everything else will have fat in there. And the big problem becomes you overeat the fats. And what does your body do with fats that it doesn't need? It will store it. So watch out for the Big Mac that you're eating. And not only that, let's say you decide to have Five Guys instead. That's 55 grams on its own. Adding this here, right? That's 21. So when you decide to have your cheat meal over the weekend, because you've been working so hard, in one sitting, you actually overeat the normal allotted amount. So the problem with these burgers is that they taste amazing, and they taste amazing for a reason, because they have a high amount of fat content. But with that being said, you can make the burger that I recommend, the Dr. Mike's burger, any burger. The big difference here is choosing a leaner patty that will save you on all of those fats. So I'm showing you here my burger, Dr. Mike's burger. It has less calories than both the Big Mac and the Five Guys at 483 calories. It has a little less carbs at 34.3. It has more than 50% less fats in total at 16.7 grams of fat. And it has the equal amount of protein that you'll get in a Five Guys. So this is the thing I say to people. Instead of restricting yourself on your diet and saying, you know what, I can't eat out, rather just make your home version. And this way you can build a diet and you can enjoy it. My clients have a burger every week because I build a better version for them. And with that being said, if you want to have a guaranteed result, you're a busy professional. I am looking to work now with 5 women who are busy moms, and they want to finally be able to get rid of the baby weight, or they've tried different things in the past and you're unsure if it's your metabolism, if you're dealing with metabolic syndrome or metabolic damage overall, or any of the things that may be going on in your life. You've tried different trainers. I highly recommend you fill out an application to work with me, and we'll go through our diagnostic. This is where I analyze everything to finally tell you what it is that's stopping you from losing that 10, 20, 30 pounds. And we'll do that over the call. If that is you, fill out the application and I'll see you on the other side. But let's move over to food number 4. Now, number 4 is gonna be something that you very, very likely indulge in. And I'm gonna give you the harsh truth because I want better for you. So number 1, this is 5 pounds of fat technically. But let's imagine that this is 1 pound of fat. For me to get rid of this 1 pound of fat, I need to burn 3,500 calories, right? They did an experiment and they saw how much energy it needed to make a complete pound of fat disappear. And with that, with 1 pound of fat, we know that if we want to lose that pound in a week, we need to get rid of 3,500. So 3,500 divided by 7 is going to give you 500. And if you want to lose 2 pounds of fat in a week, then it's 7,000, right? So that's 1,000 calories that you need to be. But the one thing that I see holds so many people back for many reasons, just besides the calorie content, and I'm going to show you guys what to do alternatively so you're successful. It's going to be alcohol. Here we have a bottle of Heineken, and here we have Absolute vodka. Now all of these are the same, and in one typical shot of vodka, right, this is 1 shot. And again, I know all about vodkas. I lived in Russia for 8 years. This is what we call 1 shot of vodka. Now, in this 1 shot is 97 calories, right? Now, the limit is if you have 5 shots, and typically remember when you're ordering your drinks, it's a double shot typically. It's a double shot of vodka, it's a double shot of whiskey, all 100 calories. So if you have 2 drinks, right, with each a double shot, that is already 400 calories. 200 calories in the first drink, 200 calories in the second drink. That's 4 shots, that's 400 calories. So on that particular day, there'll be no fat loss for you. And that's the issue that I find. But say with my clients, when they want to go out and drink, I say, hey, the limit is 3 with any drink. And we stay away from the cocktails. So no more than 3 shots of anything. And that's the limit. And that's the harsh truth. Besides that, the big problem with alcohol is your main function of your liver. One of your main organs is detoxification of the blood. The liver has many different functions, but its main function is detoxification of the blood. When you ingest the alcohol, your liver stops processing and detoxifying everything else, and it focuses on getting rid of the alcohol in your blood. And this sounds harsh, but this is literally poison. It has no nutritional benefit. And on top of that, we know the highest calories per gram is fat at 9 grams, but the second highest is going to be 1 gram of alcohol is 7 calories. So besides feeling really good for the evening and maybe being a little bit more social and being happy for that period of time, there's no benefit. So that's on that part. Here with the Heineken, this is 140 calories. If you have 3 beers, it's game over for your fat loss goals because now you've overconsumed on that particular goal. And I've spoken about alcohol at length, but it's such a common problem. My big recommendation for you guys, if you want to finally lose belly fat, just make a decision to cut out the alcohol. It's always the easiest choice. Now, yes, there is moderation, but let's say you make the choice for moderation, then just accept it's gonna take you 2 to 3 times longer to lose the belly fat. So whenever I go through a transformation, whenever one of my clients come through, I say, hey, we have to put alcohol to the side or at big moderation. So maybe after a month, maybe you've lost 8 pounds after 2 months, then start introducing it slowly. So that is going to be on alcohol. Rant over. Let's move on into number 5. Number 5, we're gonna talk about candies. Now there's things anecdotally that I've experienced myself, and this is for all my people who have a sweet tooth. It is extremely difficult to eat these in moderation. It never happens. And what I also noticed is in my first try around with getting from 30% to 15%, I said to myself, hey, it fits my diet, I can eat this. But the problem is that I had zero self-control. What I also noticed is the more I ate, so let's say I just had half of these Skittles, my craving and my desire for more Skittles the next day was, or just throughout the rest of the day, my desire for more sweet craving foods was just so much higher. And research has shown is that the points in your brain that has the desire for sugar is very closely related to the points that trigger your desire for cocaine. And one of the reasons why I just don't have candies around in my diet, I don't even buy them, I don't keep them in my environment because it just leads to temptation. And then I need to be able to use my decision-making energy in, should I eat the Skittles and the Haribos or not? So I don't buy any candy at all. But I also just wanted to show you guys how much sugar is in these. So in a packet of Skittles, right, in this packet here that you see in front of you is exactly 160 calories. So this handful here, just this handful, right, it's not even my palm size, is 160 calories. The total carbs in here is going to be 37.3, but of that, the sugar content is going to be 29 grams, right? So let me show you what 29 grams looks like. And just showing you, that's all the sugar that you're just gonna get in Skittles. And basically, you're just eating sugar. That's it, in short, right? When you're eating the Skittles. And this also goes over recommendation of added sugar that you're eating in Skittles. And again, the problem with this is that you just get that little dopamine hit, that serotonin hit from that enjoyable little Skittles in that moment, which is why I just don't buy it at all. I get rid of it from my palate and I have zero desire to have it on a day-to-day basis. But let's even talk about Haribos, right? Everyone's favorite gummy bears. In Haribos, in this packet entirely that you're seeing here, there's exactly 309 calories, which comes out to be a total of 69.3 grams of carbs. Of that 69.3, 40 grams, 40.5 grams of that is total sugar, right? So we have 30 here. Now I'm going to add another 10 grams. And that's all the sugar in these Haribos. Again, giving you zero nutritional value. So for all of you, simply just cut the sugars out and just not have any candies. It doesn't give you any benefit. And this is another reason why I don't. Now, moving on. The next that I have as number 6 is going to be the nuts and the raisins. And you will not imagine how many people I speak to on a day-to-day basis and they're like, hey Mike, I'm eating a handful of almonds, you know, as a healthy snacks, I'm having Cajun nuts. Yes, arguably there are nutritional benefits, vitamins and minerals that are good in the nuts. But when you have this mix with dried raisins and dried fruits in there, it's just a high concentration of sugar and a high concentration of fats. And the way I want you guys to start thinking about the foods you put in your body is the total calories you have is the money that you have in your bank account. You're not gonna blow all your money in one place. Also, you're not gonna use all your money and just buy one item. You wanna get the most value for your money. And if you ever wonder why you're not hitting your goals, it's because you're not getting value for the food that you're putting into your body. So let me give you an example. In this entire packet of nuts and raisins, which you may eat in an entire day, just snacking, or that you may have in 2 days, is exactly 645 calories. Of those 645 calories, that is 75.5 grams of carbs and 30.5 grams of fat. That is about 70% of all your fats had in one packet. And on top of that, calorically, remember when I said if you want to lose a pound of fat, you need to be eating less than 500 calories? All of your effort, all of the cardio, the salad that you ate, all of that disappears just with this handful. And look at it, it's just also air, right? Like, honestly, this is just air if I bend it this way. So you need to ask yourself, is making this bad decision worth all the efforts that you put? And this is something I see too common. I just recommend stop eating the nuts and just eat more whole foods, right? So again, if you can control yourself and have 3 to 4, then congrats to you, kudos to you. But for the general public, this is a big problem. And again, the purpose of this video isn't to cause any fear with all these foods, but more so to bring up consciousness. So you know, okay, this is exactly what I'm eating and this is potentially how it may be stopping me from reaching the goal. Essentially, all the foods I'm showing you, you can include in your diet. The problem is that it's not efficient. It just doesn't work, right? It's not the best choice. And I want you guys to make the smartest choices because I care for you. So let me show you guys what that 30.4 grams of fat looks like that's in this entire packet. That's 22. And that is 31 grams of fat, which rounding 30.5 off, that's all the fats here. So again, you eat your healthy nuts and you eat almost 70% of what you're supposed to be eating just in this little packet. Honestly, like this handful doesn't seem so bad, you know, if you just take this and you snack throughout the day, it doesn't seem so bad, but it's exactly what is stopping you. So just be mindful of these mixes that you're having in your diet because it's healthy. And again, the packaging and the marketing is amazing. Let's move on to number 7. Now, this is something that I haven't had in a while, in a long time, is butter. And some people consider butter even to be fake fat. And that's the honest truth. The problem with butter, besides its high caloric content, it tastes amazing. Having it on your toast, cooking different foods with it. And this is another problem with butter, is that it's so calorically dense, it's almost impossible to see on your food, but you can taste it and you don't know how many calories there are in there. So in one serving, right, which is 10 grams, in just 10 grams of butter, there's 8.1 grams of fat. But the big problem with that fat is that most of the butter contains saturated fat. That saturated fat is what we call that bad cholesterol, that LDL. So this will increase cardiovascular disease overall. So myself, I just haven't had any butter on my meals or on my food. Maybe sometimes if I'm feeling dangerous, I'll try and add a little bit more flavor to my food. But butter is just something I don't add at all because of that bad LDL, that cholesterol. And what I'll rather go for when I'm cooking is a PAM spray, a 0-calorie spray. And there's also something that's called, I can't believe it's not butter, just butter spray that saves you on over consuming butter. I don't even have to go more deeper into this with all the different things that are made to be able to make this thing exist. Butter is just something I don't include in my diet at all anymore. Let's go on into the next. Now, hopefully this one is a bit obvious, but I wanted to show you guys really good alternatives so you can make your diet a lot more sustainable, because that's also another factor. When I get people who go from 30% to 20%, it's making those easy decisions with the diet, cutting a lot of the bad foods out, building good habits. But you need to get more detail to go from 20 to 15 and then 15 to 10. Now, I wanted to show you guys this. Here we have a classic Ben and Jerry's ice cream. And this pint of ice cream looks very innocent, but in here we have exactly 1,100 calories, right? Which comes out to a total of 65 grams of fat and a total of 17 grams of protein, and then finally 111 grams of carbs. Of that, 94 grams of that is sugar. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So here we have our scale. Let me show you how much fat that is. And remember, this is what 50 grams looks like, what I'm supposed to be eating. And this one pint has more fat than the amount that I'm supposed to eat. So let me show you what 65 grams looks like. Almost there. And that is 65 grams just in this particular ice cream, right? So whenever you're having your cheat meal, be aware of stuff like this. So I always recommend, if you're going to your place, I'm just gonna put 65 grams here, always read the nutritional labels. It'll save you a lot of pain in terms of making mistakes. And let me show you what 94 grams of sugar looks like. So adding this in here, this is 94 grams of sugar. That's 60, 70, 80, 95 grams of sugar. I'm even just gonna leave it there. So in this pint, we have all of this sugar and we have all of this fat that you'll eat in just 10 minutes, 20 minutes, if you can finish a whole pint. And again, what I also wanted to share, right, not to show you guys, wow, this is terrible. The objective for Ben & Jerry's as a company is so that you guys can buy more. It tastes amazing. But what if you could just make your own ice cream? Now, before I get to that, this is the one that I have, and the pints are exactly the same and a third of the calories at 300 calories, right? So I can have 3 of these to equal the same amount of calories as these. So which one would you choose, right? So that's this. But something that I've been doing with my clients a lot more, which is super fun. And again, ice cream is typically the thing you will eat along with your kids. This is a game changer. And I'm not sponsored or anything. The device you're seeing in front of you is what you call a Ninja Creamy. And this thing turns anything into ice cream. So let me explain. So in here is the container that you make your ice cream in. So you'll add your protein shake. So just the plain protein shake, some milk and the protein powder. You'll freeze that over. And then the next day, you'll add it to the device and you'll put it in here and it will break up that protein shake and turn it into ice cream. and the quality is amazing. It tastes just like ice cream, and you can add different toppings like a few pieces of Oreo, like your protein bars, anything that you desire to make your own ice cream. You can make sorbets if you like, anything that's a healthier alternative to the Ben & Jerry's. So this is $150, I believe. You can get this off of Amazon. And what I love about it is that you can get very creative with the different ice creams that you want. So if you have different flavors, and if you just search Ninja Creamy recipes, you will see a multitude of different videos. So for all of you who want to diet, but it's boring or you maybe struggle, having a device like a Ninja Creamy can make it so much more sustainable. Instead of having the Ben & Jerry's, make your own version at home, and you can have it every day without even feeling guilty. And you can also have 3-4 times more ice cream if you really love ice cream. Let's move on to the next. Number 9. Processed meats. Who doesn't love a good hot dog? And I don't know about you guys, but it's been forever. I maybe had this when I was a kid, but processed meats that are canned this way. Now, as I'm speaking, I'm showing you guys a video of how these are made. It's made with leftovers from different animals and it's processed together. I'm not even gonna go into the detail, but as you guys can see from the video, clearly these foods aren't healthy for you. So I always mind myself when foods are highly processed, and think about it a few times, especially what you would consider a protein source is the Spam, processed meats, and the hot dogs. This is just something that I don't have in my diet at all, but maybe for those of you guys who think that this is healthy for you, it is not. I won't even go over the macros, but in one sausage there's 17 grams of fat, right? So I can have 3 of these and all my fats are gone. So that's the processed meat. Let's go into the final one, which I know everybody's doing, and I made this mistake as well. The final one is a common mistake I still see till today. And I don't know why, but I want to show you guys good alternatives. So here we have our scale. We're going to need our cup. We're going to need sugar. The most popular drink on earth, fortunately not water, it's going to be Coke, right? In this Coke, there's 1,500 liters. There's 65 grams of sugar. If I drink this entire Coke, this is all the sugar that I'm drinking. All of that sugar is in this Coke, but Coke is good with a meal. All you need to do to eliminate all of the sugar is just make the 0 option. So for all of your favorite drinks, Sprite, Coke, Fanta, all of your favorite sodas, go for the 0-calorie drink. I don't care if it has a different taste. It will save you from just drinking empty calories and you'll be able to lose the weight. So the trade-off is you get to drink something slightly similar, and personally to me, I do not see a difference. It depends on where you are, what region, which Coke. Rather go for the 0-calorie option, and you can do that temporarily, but rather go for the 0-calorie option. Another thing that I see very often is juice, right? And I go to my parents' place, and why I brought this video up. Despite everything, I know my parents still have regular Coke in their fridge and they have juice. Now, juice is marketed to be healthy because there's vitamin C, it's 100% real juice, but the honest truth is it comes from apples or berries, all these different fruits that are very healthy, but they just concentrate all the sugar in there. And what you're basically drinking is just sugar water. So this here is a popular juice drink. Let's see how much sugar there is in this entire carton. So in this entire carton of juice is 550 calories. So if you finish this carton, there's no fat loss for you at the end of the day. But on top of that, the total amount of sugar in this carton of juice is this, and this is gonna shock you. 10, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70, 90, 100, 120 grams. In this carton of juice, you get 120 grams of sugar. That is 6 times more sugar than their recommendation from American Heart Association. So again, with this, you don't need that. What I rather you do is, instead of drinking all the sugar, if you're such a juice fan, this is something that has been a game changer for me. So I take sparkling water, and it can be any sparkling water, right? And I'll pour a glass of my favorite sparkling water, and then I'll add this in there. And this is a 0-calorie water enhancer, and the brand is called Robinson's. I've been drinking this for over the last year, and honestly, this is what keeps me on my diet. And all you do is you add a little bit to your drink, and there you have a juice. that doesn't have 120 grams of sugar in there. 0 calorie, and it tastes amazing. So this one is zesty. They have blackberry currant and apple. That's by far my favorite. So if you're someone who's still drinking juice, just find Robinson's, place an order for these on Amazon. They're incredible. It tastes so good. And what I like about doing it with sparkling water is that the sparkling water fills me, and it also tastes amazing. So not only does it help you stick to your diet because it tastes good, you can drink as much as you want. What I really like about this more than the Cokes on its own is that Coke still contains caffeine. And I remember when I was drinking Coke Zero in my first year of medical school losing weight, I was drinking 2 liters right before going to bed, and then I was still an owl in bed. And it was just because I didn't realize there was caffeine in the Coke. But I'll leave the video here. Hopefully it was helpful and you've gathered some information here that will help you make better decisions. If you did enjoy the video, leave the video the gentle thumbs up and let me know in the comments, was this helpful? Is this going to be able to help you with your fat loss finally? I'm excited to see what the journey holds for you. Keep on working hard, keep on going for your goals. And I'm excited to have you guys here and into the future. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.